My name is Coy Yiontis. I'm from Coy Yiontis Architects. Today I'll be presenting Harold. Harold exists in Middle Park, about 100 metres away from the Middle Park beach, which is to the west of this image. And when our client approached us, they approached us saying that they wanted a new house on the site that they had lived on for about a decade, and they wanted this house to have the ability to entertain. His previous house was not able to provide that for her and her growing family. Her kids have now kind of grown up in this house and now teenagers, going to university, and decided to kind of stay on because the location is so great. So she wanted to provide a new kind of nest for her family, and engaged our practice to I guess rethink the site, look at their kind of opportunities and constraints, and apart from the kind of basic brief of X amount of bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, living, kitchen, all that gear, she wanted to live in a radical piece of architecture, I suppose, and wanted to make a statement to the street. So the way the building is organised, I'll just flick back. On the ground floor is where the 2 teenagers reside. They have their own private courtyard, and the landscape protects them from the street on their own retreat. And as you move up through the levels, the middle level is the living space, which we've intentionally set back from the northern boundary for solar access, and to have that kind of entertaining terrace, which is number 12. And our swimming pool, which was an existing pool, was refurbished, which was kind of a choice in maintaining some kind of elements of the pre-existing house that made sense and were rational. And then on our final level, the second floor, is the client's own retreat, a penthouse of sorts that gains access to Northern Light, but also some pretty amazing views to the city, and kind of the roofscape of Middle Park. The practice's kind of conceptual framework was based around this idea of the palimpsest and looking at the layers that existed on our site previously, scraping what we felt was no longer needed, and then adding, I guess, a new scripture to the site. And then the Kraken, which is kind of this legendary sea monster, being the analogy for the new building, starting to kind of take over the elements of the pre-existing house, which will make a bit more sense in the formal moves of the project. This is just a quick display of moving from the left of the screen to the right, seeing that second image, which is under demo. We kept the existing slab on the ground floor, the swimming pool, and then one wall that was prior to the previous renovation, an Art Deco house. So the site's had a few goes at it, and this is ours. And then the last image is a kind of roof plan of our project. Some side images, kind of just trying to draw that, I guess, that narrative through and try to display it in construction. Obviously quite banal construction images, but I think there's something poetic in it. And so this is the kind of form that we're left with, and I just want to explain how we got to it. So on Beach Road, there's I guess a great trend in knocking down original homes that aren't heritage listed and kind of building these larger, I guess, contemporary beach houses. Our project tries to mediate between kind of the heritage grain of the site and these kind of contemporary homes along Beach Road. So our southern wall acts as a kind of a bookend to that, and then our building recedes to the north, kind of respecting our heritage neighbours, but also as a move of getting light into our living spaces. It's kind of quite a fundamental move and project. And then there was obviously planning restraints, given that it's quite a dense area, and we're dealing with overlooking issues. The building was kind of formed and crafted around these kind of parameters. The kind of second level was ambitious, and there was some initial feedback from council, but we managed to convince them that it would contribute to the streetscape in a positive way. And then similarly, the building's then shaped, our canopy is then kind of shaped in a way to allow summer, or to allow winter light in and reduce the amount of summer light that's hitting our interior plate. And that kind of new terrace level is a concrete slab, so we're kind of trying to store the sun that hits it on a daily and kind of utilise that energy. For our practice, for those who know our work, it's I guess quite a deviation from what we had delivered in the past 25 years of our existence. And that was kind of a culture led by the client wanting an experimental piece of architecture, and we were willing to go on the ride with her. What that meant was that the practice had to engage in some new found technology and a bit more of an iterative process than to what we're used to. But it was a great challenge. And I suppose I started this project with a full head of hair and ended with not much, given its kind of complexity, both in form, its interface with authorities, consultants, but also construction technology. Thanks, yeah. Our documentation package kind of presented the ideas of the building form, but it, to the builder's credit, CBD contracting, they kind of bought into the client's, I guess, this kind of culture the client had set about delivering this radical piece of, I guess, residential architecture, using building technology that's not very common in single residential projects and probably found more in public buildings. This is just a shop drawing displaying the kind of subtle variations in black, like they've been builded in that colour, which is great. And then just some very crude, but again, I think beautiful shop drawings from an amazing kind of team. That's the only kind of view that you get of the ocean from this intimate balcony on the terrace level. And these are some external and internal images I'll just flick through, being the outcome. And what I want to kind of display was that there is a practice is fond of this relationship between the interior and exterior, and we try to kind of integrate the two, I think. As you can see here, it's the ground floor courtyard. Thanks. That's how we do the craft.